Hey, what up? Here's another update episode. We're going to try and keep this brief. A couple announcements coming out of the gate here. And then after that, we're going to talk a little bit about why our pricing is the way it is. We get the question all the time, and it's better if we just address this so that we can be all, you guys can understand why it's not the same as your bro taking you out for a ride. So the poker run dates have been announced. It's going to be June 21st is the spring poker run, and then September 13th is the fall poker run. Um, the other announcement. So that is an event put on by the RRMMC. If you may have been riding Rampart at some point and seen like a bajillion people up there, and the cool thing is that it's a great, but people like especially families have been doing some of this stuff for years. Like they will be like, "This is my 35th poker run." I think it's been going on for 51 or 2 years now, and it's basically a fun ride, but it's really been meant to benefit the RRMMC, so the Rampart Range Motorized Management Committee. So they really are the management group that takes care of the trails in conjunction with the U.S. Forest Service and CPW on occasion as well, to make sure that all these trails that are in our backyard here stay open and well maintained. And we get a lot of erosion here, especially in the spring. And we get a ton of traffic there. It's busy. So I'll just say it once. Today is, well, probably not given what we're talking about, but you want to, if you want to go ride Rampart, like don't show up at the main lot on a Saturday morning. Like it's worth it to come out with us, even if you do a Trailheads Day. Bring your whole family. Groups of you can buy passes and ride and whatever. But anyway, there are a lot of people that are out here. They get a lot of use, and our RMMC has been so successful in dealing with this. They're kind of considered like uh, the way to do it right across the state and really across the country. There are a lot of great management groups out there. We work with quite a few of them ourselves, and we donate time to do those things. But most importantly, they need your help, right? So if you want to get involved with the community, um, happy to put you in touch with the folks over there or let you know when the next meeting are. The monthly meetings are they're not all that exciting. It's really about managing the trails, and it takes there are a lot of different aspects of it. The poker run specifically, but I will say this, the work parties are really fun, and then you get to ride at the work parties and you get to know all these people that love what they love being involved in this sport. So it's a good way to also give back to the community, right? And so this is specifically a benefit, and all the proceeds basically go. It doesn't cost that much to put on the event. They have free donuts in the morning and coffee right at registration. You have to register online ahead of time. And then you show up that morning, you wait in line, you get your poker hands. And it's basically like you do the ride, and every ride place you stop, every checkpoint, which we sponsor a checkpoint, and a lot of the dealerships in the area and other people in the industry sponsor checkpoints. You get your check, you get back, you get your cards, and then basically there's a bunch of prizes that we raffle off, or that they raffle off. And a lot of the folks donate. There's different tiers of, you can get actual cash to go use at their stores, and then there's a lot of products that come out. So it doesn't cost much to operate, but your contribution in there does go straight in. And if they have two of them, and it's their biggest money makers of the year. So, and it's really fun. Can't go in there thinking, I remember some dude, it's classic, buy a bike, every mod, comes out thinking it's a race and then gets disappointed. And it's like, yeah, bro, this isn't a race. This is a ride, right? So that's it for that. Our spring break camp for kids, essentially about probably 9 or 10 through 17, 18 if we know you, probably. But that is a week-long spring break camp at Peach Valley. We rent out a house out there. The above ground pool isn't online till June when we go back out for summer trips, but the spring break camp is online and it's available to sign up. It's a couple $1,000. Pick them up Monday morning at 8 o'clock. We leave Thunder Valley in Denver. We can pick people up on the way, or you can meet us out there. Parents can come, but they kind of end up needing to go separately for some stuff, but it just depends. But for the most part, it's just all for the kids, right? And they go out and they ride their little tails off all week and they come back completely exhausted, guaranteed. So those are our two big announcements. Got it? Good. Okay. Now, got my little Tamichi Creek coffee mug here. We do legally service Tamichi Creek, Taylor Park, and Crested Butte. It's our premier location, high country Colorado, and it's surrounded on bookended really on one end with the front range, and then you can ride all of that stuff at Taylor and in the interior, which is the Continental Divide section, and then we have the Western Slope, Peach Valley, all the desert riding, and then a bunch of alpine out there. But yeah, come ride to meet you with us. You will. It's a big, big world out there. There are hundreds of miles of trails on that corridor, right? There's cabins to stay at. We can stay at Tamichi Creek Trading Post, which is where this is from, in Sargents. And yeah, it's a rip and ride. So if you want information, just reach out. And soon we'll be launching the Trailheads program, which will take you through there on more things. So topic for today. Probably don't need a lot of coffee to talk about this because it gets me pretty fired up. Like I said, we've been doing this this is our 9th year of doing stuff. And I think one of the biggest things that comes up time and time again is, well, I just want like an hour of training, or yeah, we just need a guide to take me and my 4 buddies out. So I don't know, what's that, like $300 or something? And there are so many things that go into doing it right. And reality is it's just a huge production to get all this stuff done. And yeah, could you pay some dude? Are you going to find them online, and they're going to be poaching, and they're going to be using your public lands to make profit, which is essentially like going out and drilling a well and pulling out oil, or going and getting minerals and then taking and selling them, even though it's public land. It's illegal, right? So we don't operate that way. We never have. And so our goal is to do it right, but that means it's just comes with extra costs, right? Okay. So let's talk about some of that stuff that comes into why you pay what you pay when you ride with Enduro Ranch. I mean, and we'll talk about the value of it, right? But everybody wants a deal. There's so much they don't consider, and they're like, my buddy will take me out for free. And I'm like, that's awesome. Your buddy should take you out for free. The problem is, if your buddy is way better than you and they've been riding a long time, they may not even really stick around for you all the time, but they usually wait. And there's great hosts and guides out there. In fact, if you really do like taking people out, give us a call and you can get paid to go out and guide people. And your buddy's not going to charge you, but the idea that you could get 3 guys together and pay $300 or $500 to go out is just, there's no business model in that, which means you don't get the services that you really need, which is, where the hell am I going? Where do we meet? How far are we going to, can we ride? What's the trail like? Where are the intersections? This is how most people spend their time at every intersection. I think I did this last podcast too. Like, which way do we go? So that's not how we roll. Granted, I've been in that position before, and but it's not what we do as guides, right? So you go there, you know where you're going to go. Our guides turn around and look at you, and a lot of times we actually vet people before they go on rides. For training, it's totally different, right? Our coaches they are there to help you ride better, right? So whether in a trail situation, the thing we hear probably more than anything else is, I'd say it's like, man, that was so fun. I can't believe we did all that in one day. Or, that's probably the general reaction. This was so worth it. This was so worth it. I'm so glad that we just did this, right? That's kind of the usual sense that we get, because people come out and they get to ride and ride and ride, right? You get to ride. You don't have to worry about, and then you've got like Ian out there, and I mean, just all of our guys, right? They're watching the weather, they're watching the conditions. We're making it the best possible ride you could have. It literally, last year, Ian had people all over the plateau, and they avoided the storms the whole time. They were riding on wet dirt. And I think they were out for probably 40, 50 miles, right? So that's what you pay for. And in the coaching scenario, the number one thing I think we hear more than anything, and it's always such a huge reward, is when someone comes out, especially for private instruction, right? They pay $675 to come out for a day of private instruction. And I don't want to say almost every time, because it's not every time, but the one thing we hear more than anything else is, oh, wow, that's worth it. That one thing was worth every dime that I paid today. I could leave right now and be happy. And it does. It happens. It happens all the time. So anyway, from a value standpoint, the value is definitely there. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that goes into the value for you when you're out on the trail. First of all, you're being supervised, and our guides aren't out there for themselves. They're out there for you. So they are looking at like, okay, how are they riding? How fatigued are they? Are they all over the road? Are they complaining about arm pump? Are they showing up and their goggles are filling up with fog in 30 seconds in 70-degree weather because they're overheating? Like, someone's looking out for your best interest. That's huge, right? And they also, if things get gritty, they can take the bike up for you if they need to, or they know the areas well enough that it's like you go and then you bonk, right? You're like, oh shit, I fell down, or I just tapped out on this last section because I was riding too hard, whatever it is, right? Especially when you come up to elevation, right? You're riding above tree line and you're from North Carolina, you're like, you're gonna get winded, right? And it can make people bonk. So our guys are like, how are you doing? Where are you at? You're spent. Let's go back down the hill. And they'll get you out of that. All of our routes have getaways and get outs, right? So we can break things off. If you're in a group of usually more than 3 people, we're always going to have a sweep. Definitely 4 and 5. But if it's a group of you and your buddies and one guy always runs sweep, we might go up to 5 people without a sweep. But once we hit 6 people, we're definitely having a sweep. So any problem you have, someone's always going to be there behind you. And it doesn't mean that we're always the only one out front. It really depends on the area. Sometimes you have a 5 or 6 mile leg with a blatant stop at the end of it, like where you come out to something, you can go first, right? I will say that we pretty much guarantee that that our guides aren't ever going to hold you back, right? But they might pace you. And that's something that it takes some skill to learn to do, but you start to realize when people are riding over their heads, and then you just drop the pace a little bit and let them get back in their comfort zone. Another way that you're being looked out for, when it's not just you and your buddies and whatever. And I don't have anything with riding with your buddies. Like, let's face it, that's one of the reasons we even do this, because it's so fun to ride with your buddies. But if you're coming from out of state, or you're new to the sport, or you just don't want to like go through and look to try and figure out where all the trailheads are and then get out there and stare at Cotrex all day, and you want to bring your buddies, like, Trailhead still accommodates that. The buddy pass in that system is going to allow you to all come in and ride together. So let's just talk briefly about the costs that are associated with it. So, everybody says, oh yeah, I will pay a guide. And you ask them what do you think a guide should make? And it's usually between like 300 and 600 or something a day that you'd want to pay a guide. So that's the first thing you pay. But you got to remember that we pay fairly well for guides, right? I don't think we're cheap. We don't, and it's going up again this year because everything's gone up, which means your prices are going to go up too. Sorry. But this is a seasonal business. So none of we have a couple people that are full-time, but they're, that partners, and we've been in this together for several years. Right. Ian and John, especially Andy now coming on, Russell, like you guys know these people if you're involved with this, like you guys have been around a long time, and or that we've all been doing this for a while, and it's not a full-time job yet, right? For those people, I think in the warmer climates, and eventually we'll have people that are just on full-time, but right now it's really, you got to find someone that can go out there and do the work and guide and keep their head together and be first aid certified and know how to work on bikes and have a good toolkit and have preparations if there's an emergency. All that stuff is part of what they do to keep you safe. And so all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I give you $100, like whatever. If you want to go with those clowns and go huck bikes or whatever, you could go on Craigslist and find some guy that wants to take you out, go for it. But I'll put one of our guys up against them anytime, whether it's riding, mechanic work, or just being good, honest people, humble, and helping you ride better and further in a safer manner. So these guys have to, a lot of times you have to look at the whole component of the bikes. And if we're bringing bikes for you, and then you've got to prep the bikes, you have to maintain the bikes, you have to haul the bikes. So for one day of coaching or guiding, especially if you're bringing a bike, but even if you're not, there's an hour to get ready and then an hour to come in and back and unload. And even if you're a super styly guy that's got all this stuff in the truck or the van or the trailer and you just walk out, you're still going to probably get fresh water, still got to get your food, still got to make sure your gear's all there. Like there's still a whole system that goes around this every day. So it's more work than just, yeah, it's fun to go out and guide, but you're not riding for yourself out there. So you are being responsible, and that's in your head, right? You're not just like, we all love to go out and ride and guide and coach, but it's still a job, right? You're still working. So, and then on another thing that has to get paid for, that's not really, you don't really think about, is all the coordination, right? So, in addition to the hours that surround the day, think about all the other aspects. We got to answer questions. There are weather changes which could lead to location changes. There's rescheduling for people there. And then again, there's the bikes and things like that got to be there. So all those things take time. We got to make sure you have your insurance waiver signed, right? All that. And plus you might have the maintenance component, loading and unloading. And then you got to take a truck and a trailer, and then you got to store all this stuff. So all that stuff adds up. Another side of it is just the marketing, right? So we got to have a website. We got to be putting up videos, the social media, whatever, right? If you're on our social media and you're following us, you're like, it's a little sporadic, and it rightly so. This is like the most consistent thing we're doing right now, is this ridiculously long, me talking too much video. But it's one of the only ways to get our message out there. So again, in the name of efficiency, someone pointed out the other day, or Russell was talking about Russ DeRoche, and he said, yeah, he's going to work for a company now, and it's really crazy for him because as an independent contractor, he's a welder. So for all these years, it's been really a focus on super high efficiency. Then he went to work for the county, actually. And it's a completely different scheme, right? But pretty much every aspect of what we do is for efficiency. You're not going to walk out into our shop or the garage or see the trailer and just be like, oh my gosh, they're blowing money everywhere, right? That's not why we're doing this podcast. We're doing this because we're trying to help you understand, like, this stuff costs money to make. I don't make a mint. Ian doesn't make a mint. John doesn't. None of us make a mint. We all do this because this is what we love. And we believe in bringing people into this sport in a way that they're going to have awareness about how to behave on a trail, and then not have to worry. You get to share with them something you love, which is a gift. Like, it's truly a gift to live this life and share what you love. So that's what we do. On top of all the marketing stuff, you got the booking platforms, right? So I think the new one that we're working on is like 300 and some bucks a month. So I know someone's going to say that's a ripoff, and don't spam me with stuff, but only about 10 people are going to watch this anyway. So, and 3 of them will be Ian, Andy, John, right? Like other John. The other thing that comes a lot as a big expense is insurance. So insure the bike, insure the trucks, you know, the biggest thing that keeps other outfitters from not doing this sport is undoubtedly the insurance cost to, um, like, indemnify the US Forest Service and the BLM, right? So or private land, if we're on your private land. We still have a waiver that people sign that's a release of liability, and that is a huge policy, and it has tripled. Ooh, yeah, it's probably coming up on quadrupling in the 9 years that we've been doing business. And it ain't cheap, right? So, yeah, yeah. You on top of everything else that has to be paid for and maintaining all this other stuff, you've got I don't even know what the number would be. Probably pushing 1,000 grand. That's 1,000 grand. Probably a grand a month, something like that. It's just where we're getting at with that. So you can imagine. And then on top of that, we have to have OHV permits for all the bikes, right? So they're always current, and that's another 500 to 1,000 bucks a year. So it's probably 1,000 with everybody's bike. So the permitting, and then on the permits, not only do you pay, so you pay to get the permit, you have to have the insurance to get the permit. That's why most people don't do this, because the insurance is such a big cost that you have to cover just that cost. So you can imagine starting out as a small group, you're like, okay, who's going to pony up 5 to 10 grand, right? Or 12, even more. Yeah, because it's like I said, it keeps going up and it goes up with the more people that you do. So or that you work with, right? The more people that come out. So the permit, on top of that, the other cost goes into the hours that it takes to put together all the permit. If anybody's ever filled out any paperwork that deals with a government agency, you know that sometimes they don't have like this magical system. I'd really when Doge was supposed to go in and do the efficiency thing, I was so excited, like, man, this would be perfect opportunity to go in on things like this, like standardize the way permits are done across the entire US for the federal government. Because right now, every agency is a little bit different. So we have to have all this different information and plug it in, and it's very detail oriented. And there's a lot of questions to answer. You have to have a lot of proof, and you're putting your rear end on the line. And then you have to update that information if you bring on a new guide or a new vehicle. And it's expensive, right? We pay ahead of time a portion for the different areas we go. And for Taylor Park Sergeants and CB, right there, we'll probably pay 700-800 this year just up front, right? So then when the in season comes, if we've gone over, if we're near our total amount, we make the rest of the payment. And you have to do that for every ranger district, right? So you don't just pay for the US Forest Service and you get to go anywhere in the US, right? You pay for per district. So we've got you know, Gunnison, we've got Chaffee, we're over everything on the western slope. We've got South Platte Ranger District and Pikes Peak Ranger District. So two different ranger districts just right here. And it's one I'm pointing up there because I probably can't turn the camera around right now, but out the back door and out the windows here is Rampart Range, right? So it extends, and right there, right, we got to do two different permits. So there's $400 or $500 right between those two, and you have to take the time to do it. So we can't just do that for free. We don't ask it, hey, bro, could you just spend 12 to 16 hours putting together this permit for free, right? Like, we're adults. Like, I'm not a like, we're not just sitting around, like, I don't know. We're not just sitting around having a job in a t-shirt shop with a ton of extra time when we're not doing that and the snow sucks. So anyway, so the more locations you have, the more permits you have, the more travel you have, and the more coordination you have. So probably different with Enduro Ranch than other places is we service a whole bunch of different areas, and a lot of the competition just services one area, right? But we really are moving and working towards like I'm not going to announce that, but we have a ride this year coming up. It'll be announced sometime this spring. And it's literally going to allow people to go from the Front Range all the way to the Western Slope in a set of 7 days tour with 5 days of riding, 6 days of riding. Sorry. Hello. And so we want to continue to keep that going, right? So we want to take people for the Best of Colorado tours off into Utah as well. And so the coordination of all this stuff and the travel and getting people there and following people, that is just another expense that we incur, right? So it's not like we bought a place in one location and then we can service everything out of there. That would be really cool, but it would be one stop on what we do. So for those kind of things, we'll be at Taylor Park. We'll be down at Tamichi Creek, right? And there's a couple of Pitkin. We've got places we can stop in all those places and have that kind of experience. If you want to just stay in one place, that's probably where we'd go. They got cabins, campfires, the whole bit. It's awesome. It's fully epic, right? Moose and elk and fishing, and it's world class. It is. So long and short, it costs money to do that, right? Like being decentralized makes it more expensive, but it gives you the ability to come into Colorado, fly into Denver, you could fly into Aspen, fly into Montrose, and basically be hopping on a trail, lickety split. Grand Junction's another good place to fly into. Get on a trail and you can ride all over the state. One of the things that we do, we call it the Manny, because he really pioneered this method. He flew in, took our van, or he rented a truck then. I mean, or might have rented a van, but now you can rent our van. You come in, you fly in, you get on your bike. We outfit you here in Rampart, usually out of Denver, and we set you off in the van. You take off across the state, and you just meet guides at different points, right? And you get to go ride. It's a pretty epic program. And it can be probably 3 of you. You can put 3 bikes in the van and ride comfortably in the van with 3 people. 4, you're going to have to do a trailer, and that's different. So anyway, that is about it. In the end, you know, we don't ride illegally. Our guides are first aid certified. They're locals. Like, they know this place. They would rather share it responsibly and respectfully and have people come out and not be blasting the trails and going way off and throwing trash and blah, blah, blah. You know, we do ask you to always pick up a piece of trash when you're out there riding. Like, if you're at a parking area, pick up some trash, bro. It's a way more extensive experience for you. You don't have any worries. You know, you're going to get back to the car. You're going to get back to home base. You've got someone watching out for you the whole time. And they're going to put you on trails that are suitable for you. So you're not going to get halfway into a trail and be like, oh, we'll just keep going. And then realize, like, oh, this is a 8-mile trail. We thought it was a 4-mile trail. And now it's 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And we're still like miles from something like that. Just, you don't want to avoid that. But what you do want to do is go out and ride your own pace. So pretty confident any of our guides are going to be able to match your pace. If not, we'll figure it out, right? Like, but pretty much every guide is an A-class rider. So an A-class local too. That's the other thing, right? You know what it is. You could go out behind a B or a C rider that's a local and they'll smoke you because they know everything. And you're back there like, ah. So we got that. And yeah, you don't have to worry about navigation, and you can really just focus on riding and enjoying the experience. So I claimed that I could say that all to someone recently in 5 to 10 minutes. And now we're at 28 minutes and 35 seconds. So, or 43. So thank you for joining. Appreciate it. Yeah, I hope you're getting out and going riding soon. It's an awesome business. We love outfitting people and getting them out on the trails. It's really, right? It's what we do. So, ciao. See you out on the trails.